Hey guys, it's Shels here, but let's talk about the music. All right, so I'm going to be doing something a little bit different with this episode. All right, in a moment, we're going to be talking to Meghanne Storey and Sunny about women empowerment. But here's a little change, because you guys know for the past, 18 episodes, I've been putting the beginning and the history along with it, and then we go into the interview, right? Well, this time I'm going to do a little different. I am going to bring the guests in my intro and into the history and see if they want to have a conversation or add to the history what they feel. Okay, so this is women empowerment. I'll give you guys a little bit information of, hey, subscribe to my channel. If you're on YouTube, hit that like button and subscribe when you know when I'm going to put out more content. And if you're listening to the podcast, please hit that heart button wherever you guys are streaming it from. Audio Boom, Spotify, music, anywhere, podcaster, anywhere you are streaming it, so that way I know that you're liking the podcast. Alrighty? Okay? All right. So now let's get into the show itself. One more thing. I am doing a survey on my podcast. So those who are watching it on YouTube, there's going to be a code that you can actually use your phone and go into it. All right. And then those that are listening to it, just go to the website called letstalkaboutthemusic.com or LTATM.com. And there's a link right there that says feedback on it. It's right above the podcast section of the website. All right. Okay. So here we go. Now, it's episode 19. We are going to be talking to Sunny and Meghanne Storey on women empowerment. And also, they're going to have an event that's going to happen on March 23rd. Now, this episode is going to be dropping the following Wednesday after the event. So what I'm going to be doing towards the end of the episode, show you the highlights of that event, and then episode 22 and 23, if I have enough footage, you guys will get to see how wonderful it was, the interviews I did and all that jazz. Okay, so that is the idea. Alrighty, you guys ready? Alrighty, let's hit it, guys. Papa Sash, play that song.
Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about the band. Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about the sound. Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the music. All around. Let's talk about it.
Hey guys, it's Shels. So let's talk about the music. This is episode 19, and I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to add the history to the guest interview, and then we'll go into the interview. Alrighty, so something different. Let's see how this goes. Alrighty, so and you guys can actually chime in the background if you guys wish to do so, or you can just be beautiful as yourselves. Okay, alrighty. Again, try something new. All right, here is my script. This is an episode on women empowerment. Women have been driving force in the music industry, breaking barriers, expectations, cutting Anthony empowerment from jazz legends to rock and roll icons. These women have shaped up the music inspiration for generations to stand tall, take up space, open their voices. Today, LTATM will celebrate the power of women in music with our guests, Sunny and Meghanne Storey. All right. So, who makes the industry? Before they give them their journey, let's take a dive into the legendary women of the past. We have Alison Keys, her song "Girl on Fire." Sean Twain, her song "Man Like a Woman." And Joan Jett, and there's many, many more. So we're here with Sunny and Meghanne to talk about their experience and triumph of women in the music industry. So, hi ladies, that is the history I do at the beginning of the episode.
Hello.
Oh.
So there you go. So welcome to this episode of Empowerment Women. Now this is all about you. Okay?
Okay.
All right. All right. So let's go. Like I said, I'm trying something different. All right. So let's go into your interview and talk about you guys, unless you want to talk more about the history I just did.
Women's empowerment.
Yeah.
In music.
Music history.
Musical history. I feel like there's been some pretty big movements in music as of lately that will go down in history. Some historical figures that are just now like carving their niche in history. And I feel like it's kind of cool to be a part of that, to be honest with you. This particular person, she's pretty dang powerful with what she does and how she moves and the choices that she makes and the way that she runs her business and how she handles herself. And, I think that I got to say it, Taylor Swift, like she's a pretty powerful person in music. And I think that she's really carving herself out a niche in history. And I think it's worth mentioning just the fact that it's happening like right here in front of us. And that's kind of cool that we get to be a part of it.
Absolutely. How about you, Sunny? Anyone in the history that you want to recognize?
As a child, I would listen to these albums that my parents had. My parents were much older than normal parents. They had me in their 40s. And I was raised on the old school stuff. And when I was little, if you would have asked me, who do you want to be when you grow up, little girl, I would have said Mahalia Jackson. Just because I fell in love with her voice and it just was like this power thing. And it wasn't until I was older when I realized, she paved the way. Ella Fitzgerald paved the way. These were back in the days when women of color were not allowed in bar, but they'll bring them just up onto the stage for a minute and then they got to get them off. And these were masters. And, to just be on a stage and be serious about it and try to do my best at what God has given me and just even try to possibly even capture just a moment of what they were all about is like a huge deal to me. So, there's been lots of women along the way that have paved the way, but there's been so many posers also. Like the real deals are the ones that actually can move mountains with their words and their lyrics and the melody and their presentation and all. So.
No, I agree with you. If you're gonna go there, I totally agree with you. I can't, like, there's so many of them. Ella Fitzgerald, Etta James, Aretha Franklin, like all of those ladies. Tina Turner, come
Patti
on.
Smith.
Right.
Patti Smith, yeah.
Patti Smith.
Patsy Cline. I mean,
Oh yeah, Patsy.
Joni Mitchell. We have to
yes.
say.
And you gotta add Madonna to that,
Madonna,
and also Pink.
Right, and these are all very powerful women that did not back down. That went through, like it's a real mean business, and somehow these women like toughed it through, and they made little girls like me want to be a rock star.
Right.
Absolutely.
I totally agree. I totally agree with you. Madonna, I watched her. I was growing up watching Madonna, and she invented herself every single generation.
Yep.
Every single time there's a shift in the music industry, she would shift.
Yep.
Cher is another one that's done a lot.
Oh yeah, Cher. Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
And
oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Mike,
yes.
Yeah. So that's who we're going to celebrate in the history, and now we're going to celebrate people women in the future with you guys. So.
Oh yeah, sorry, I got off the women thing. I was just broadening to all.
Oh yeah, you're fine. No, fine, you're fine. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. So now that we cover all that history and who we admire, let's get to know you guys. So let's start with Sunny. Talk about you, about 3 to 5 minutes, about everything you do that makes you you.
Thank you. My name is Sunny. I've been doing this singing for 30 years. I started out doing small bars and casinos with duos and traveling around the world and stuff. And then I, had to fight cancer a couple of times, and I had children, and I went through the hard stuff. And now I've reinvented it myself yet again. And I started a band called Sun Rust with my partner, Russ Meghanne. And now we have, a bass player and a drummer, Jean Paul, and Gray Man bass, Brian Templeton. And we are making Sun Rust bigger, and we're an all original, they call us Gothic folk. And we have the whole scene, and we try to, it's a very intimate show. Our words are very meaningful, and it's more like a theater environment. And we just finished a video called Crack the Code that'll be out in about a month. A music video. We're in the Washington State Independent Music Awards for 4 awards, and I'm up for 2, and that's really quite the honor. So yeah, just there's still voting too, is still going on, and Meghanne is up for a couple of awards also. So check out Washington State Independent Music Awards. But anyway, Sun Rust, you can check us out on Facebook and Instagram, and check out a live show. We have many on the calendar coming up, so we'd love to see you in one of our audiences. It'd be great.
Cool. All right, Miss Meghanne, tell us all about you.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so my name is Meghanne Storey, and I actually grew up in the Seattle area. I'm from Auburn, and I've always kind of sang. I was in the Seattle Girls Choir when I was young. I did a project when I was older, when I was 14, called Everybody Has a Song, and I went into a studio and wrote a song and got to record and mix and master it and go through the whole process. And that was a lot of fun. I learned a lot about different stuff. We made a music video, and we did like a Channel 9 special about it and interviews and stuff. It was really cool. I've always written songs and sang. My mom would only listen to Classic King FM when I was little. So she told me if I wanted words to sing, I had to write them myself. And I was like, fine, be that way. I will. And I did to everything. The first soundtrack I ever learned was the Jesus Christ Superstar soundtrack. I've always loved that kind of edgier kind of rock sound, my sisters and brothers were all into music too. As I was growing up, I have a lot of sisters and brothers. So I've always been around music. I've always seen it. It's always been something that I want to do. I've always been incredibly fascinated by it. So I did music. I did sing. I did a lot of fundraisers, and I sang for a couple of Rainiers games as a teenager. And I did, different things. I was homeless, and there was a couple of different outreach programs that I did fundraisers and things through. As I got older, I had kids, and I just kind of stopped, going chasing all that. And I sat home and I wrote songs. And I don't know, about 9 years ago, I was living in this little basement apartment in Tacoma, and my brother was like, dude, you're not writing songs. You need to write songs. And why aren't you writing? Why aren't you writing? And so he sent me a Studio One package, and I set it up, and I kind of messed around with a couple things, but computers have never really been my thing. So I was like, no, I'm not doing this. And I just I left it sitting on my sewing table, and that's just kind of where it lived for months. And my brother was like, okay, fine. And so he started sending me little guitar lines that he would just record and send to me. And he'd be like, write a song to this, write a song to this. I'm like, how can I write a song to this? There's no structure. So I'd have to replay it and put it back together right and be like, this is how you have to do it if you want me to write a song to it. And so we did that for a while. And then, I just started writing again. And then I wanted to get out of my garage, and I didn't really know how. And to be honest, I had massive stage fright, and I wasn't really sure that's what I wanted to do. And I was in the middle of a divorce and got on a dating website and saw this guy in a picture that had this amp, a little speedster amp on stage, and it had the little wings and everything. And I was like, oh, that's cool. So I messaged him, and I'm like, hey, cool amp. And we started talking, and then I
That's so funny.
You know, I sent a couple
It's
songs
cute.
back and forth. We sent, you know, I sent him a song. I was like, "Hey, I'm a singer-songwriter." And he's like, "Yeah, everybody says that. I play guitar." And I'm like, "Okay, everybody says that." And I sent him a link to my SoundCloud where I had like a couple of different things on there. And one of the things I had on there was thoughts. And he was like, "Oh, I really like this." And I'm like, "Well, thank you." And then I shut down the dating website and I never thought about it again. And this dude found me on Facebook and like pestered me for a year and a half. So finally, I went out and I started playing music with him, and I played in a cover band for a while, and then he and I kind of branched off and did our own thing. And now I have moved on. We parted ways, and you know, we just had different things that we wanted to do with our lives. So he's doing his thing, I do my thing, and now I have a band, and we got a drummer, Doug McGrew, and my guitar player Brant Park, and then Lynn Sorensen comes and plays bass with us sometimes and produces our music, and we're just kind of going for it, you know. It's a lot of fun.
Cool. Right on.
I'm just following dreams, man. It's all about chasing
I
dreams.
tell you. And I am Shels. So let's talk about the music, a little bit of my background, because I don't think I have really shared my background for a few episodes. So I've been wanting to be a broadcaster since I was 12 years old. There is a wonderful announcer out in Texas, and Casey Love was her name, and I would go on to listen to the radio every single time she was on the air and listen to her. I was awesome about her. Her and Scott Lander at the time, they were really, really close and friends. I liked how they bickered at each other as friends. And what really hit hard was that she was actually murdered by her boyfriend at the time. And it was really a tragic story. It was a murder suicide situation. It was the most horrible um, experience to know that someone, even in that Eric can actually be in jeopardy for being her successful. We don't know if she was going to leave her ex, or what was going to happen, but she was the most powerful woman that actually got me going into radio broadcasting. And here I am doing my podcast. I had the show going on for 4 years. I put the show on hold for 6 years to go get my education. I am graduating walking on June 18th. And then I am going off to Central right afterwards. So I did have a co host. It didn't work out. We were great for 4 years, didn't work out. And now I'm doing the show solo. And I'm very happy doing so.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
That's awesome.
I don't know Casey Love's story was a good positive motive or not, but there you go.
Nope,
No,
that's good. That's good.
I think that's cool. Like you're when maybe most have forgotten her, you are continuing her story through what you do.
Yeah.
So she lives on when maybe she doesn't anywhere else, but she lives on when you talk about it. So that's kind of cool.
Oh, never thought about that. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. I like the perspective. Alrighty. So this is episode on women and empowerment, because this is March Women's Month. Well, actually, Women's Day is every single day, but we're celebrating all of March. So we did go through the history a little bit about who we honored. So can you guys tell us why this, being in a woman, of all you guys went through, what is the most empowerment thing you want to tell other women, especially young women? And we'll go with Meghanne's story.
Oh my goodness. There's a lot of things. The most important thing, I think, is do not lose sight of who you are.
Yeah,
Do
I
not
have to
lose
agree with that
sight
one.
of who you are. Do not lose sight of who you are. Do not lose yourself, because it's very easy to get lost in this world. And the most important thing that you need to remember is who you are.
Miss Sunny?
I'm going to like elaborate on that because that's like awesome. And my whole thing with, from every experience I've been through and all the brutality and these situations through life that just I never even thought I'd make it through. I think that the one thing that I would tell people is always trust your intuition because it's never wrong, ever. And you can fight it. If you get gut feelings like, I don't know about that, and you do it anyway, it's always the wrong way. Like, stay on the path. So always trust your intuition, because it's always like leading you the correct way.
I will piggyback on that one. Trust your instincts, even though sometimes I think my instinct is kind of broken or abused or whatever, because I don't know. But you're right. Trust your instincts. It's not wrong. If you have any anxiety on something, it's usually telling you,
don't do that.
Don't do it.
Yes.
Yes. Trust your gut. Trust yourselves. I totally agree with that one. Yeah. All right. So I don't know what else to ask you guys.
Okay. I can think of things to say. Can we talk about some things? Can we talk about some women's empowerment, some ways that we can empower women, some different things that are happening in the world today, of ways of things that are empowering women? Because there's been a whole lot of stuff going on.
There's a lot of stuff going on right now.
There's a lot of things that are going on. Let's talk about it.
Meghanne is the host. You take it away, Meghanne.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the
women.
Let's talk about the women. Okay. Like, I know that there's a lot of things that are changing for women right now. I know that women are really fighting for like their the same amount of money. And, I just lost it.
Women are in the process of losing everything we fought for I don't know how long, 100 years?
We're necessarily in the process of losing everything we fought for. I don't believe that, but I do believe that a lot of people's rights are being infringed upon in a lot of ways, and that maybe, women can explain and educate, and maybe it's about education and explanation and why it is important that we have access to these things. Maybe that will help.
Right. Right now there is a video going viral with women going out. I forgot what country it is. Striking their breasts hanging out, line of women. Very powerful movement. I've seen that one. A lot of controversial people talking left and right about that one. So you're nodding your head there, Meghanne. So a lot of women are doing their best to not be silenced, is what they're doing. They're protesting the way they know how. And they're not going quietly through the night.
Good.
Yes, I think that's all very good. I do. I'm all about women's empowerment. I think that the best way that I can empower women is to encourage women to be creative and use their creative outlets.
So what kind of creative things can they possibly do? Especially they may not be singers or songwriters. What kind of creative things can they actually possibly do? Give an example. I'm going to go with Sunny this time. Yeah, I'll go with Sunny, and then we'll go back to you, Meghanne.
Okay.
I think people's creativity lives within themselves. It could be, the gift of words. It could be the gift of using your hands and painting something or sanding something, this kinesthetic kind of thing. It could be the gift of hearing, and, and then what would happen if you were grabbing stuff from thin air and then it's transposing it into the words and into writing, and it's all in one. That's what music is. But, I think with trauma, and women generally, unless they're super lucky to not have learned those types of lessons, but women go through a lot of trauma. And I found that the only way to curb the trauma is to redirect your energy to do something beautiful in life. And whatever that means for you, whatever your talent is, whether it's, painting a little watercolor painting, or, I don't know, like there's so many different billions of things to do that are creative. It doesn't have to be one thing or the other, but just use your gifts the way that you should to be positive and move this world into the next positive future.
All right.
I 100% agree with that. I do. I
Like,
don't think it's necessarily the outlet, the outlet that you choose or that draws you. That's just your outlet, I think. I think it's what you use it for and how you generate and push the flow. Like people use all kinds of different things. Some people are writers like Sunny and I, and we write songs, and we put melodies and things to things and tell stories with our music, and other people write books, and some people do podcasting, and other people do jewelry, or they do blown glass, or they do quilting, or they do needlepoint, or my grandmother played the organ, and she also played the lap guitar, lap steel guitar. My mom was a
Athletic, like a lot of athletes, like that's where they're, if they're like really, I don't know, take it out in the gym. I've known people
yeah.
like that too. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's the same thing, just whatever you use your outlet for, like for me, it's an outlet for my feelings. It's things that I never really have a way to describe or talk about or, discuss. Like I have a really hard time talking about things that are inside. So I write about it, and I write songs, and I just put it out there in the world. This is how I feel, and fly little bird. And once it's out, I feel so much better, and then I'm good to go. That's how it works for me. Other people, it works differently, but I think that the creative outlet is the big thing, and allowing your gifts to be shared is a big one. That was a hard one for me to learn. I had to really I had to come to grips with that, coming out of my garage and like actually doing it and getting on a stage. I swear to God, the first time I was on stage, I tried to hide behind the microphone stand the whole time.
Well, I totally agree, because I was scared to death of doing the show solo. I mean, I was still trying to find me another co-host or a co-producer or something, and I kept being guided. No, you don't need one. You got this. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I want to try to iterate the history with the show, so that way I can cut down on things. I added you guys as my host for a time being, and so more and more I did, even on the second episode with Meghanne Story and Way Past Midnight. I was so nervous, so full of anxiety that those ladies helped me get through everything, and now I'm feeling comfortable going, you people are right, I don't need anybody else. I got this. I got this.
That's
So
great. Flames.
yeah, so that's what most women actually really need, is support. Even though you may not feel it yourself, you need support. Yes, you can. You should can go for it. Do it.
I believe that. I
Mm-hmm.
do. We do need each other. We do. We need each
We
other.
do.
We do. I actually saw a study not long ago that showed that women who engage with other women like in person on a regular basis live longer.
Really?
Yeah, than women who don't.
Huh. All right.
Like on an average of like 7 years. And then it got me thinking about my grandma, who must have spent a whole lot of time with women on a regular basis because she's almost 102.
Nice. That's some
Yeah.
stories right there.
Oh man, she's got a million of them. She's like, yeah, no, she's got a million of stories. She doesn't understand the world today is her thing. She just doesn't understand it. She said everybody's
I don't.
isolated.
I don't understand the world today either, and I've lived through it, most of it, so I get it.
You're Meghanne. It's okay.
Yeah.
I don't even remember
Right.
the century practically.
Okay.
Oh, come on.
Alrighty. So I actually found some questions online. It's creative women empowerment questions. So that's what we're going to go through, since I finally figured out what I want to do here.
Wait,
So we already did that one already. What hidden strength have you hidden, and why? Have you any hidden strengths, or are you just showing it all at once? Well, you said you were stage fright for a bit. So is there anything else that you're hiding? Confess, lady.
I don't know. Probably. I don't know. I don't
All
know.
right. Okay,
I don't really know how to answer that question.
Yeah,
Let
I
me
didn't
think
know how to
about it
answer.
for a minute. What about you, Sunny?
Anything hidden?
I was a damn good little horseback rider when I was younger. I was in what it was called Pony Club, and I always
Yeah.
horses that were like right off the track and nobody wanted them, so they were free. And so I'd be like, I could do it, and I was always the one getting bucked off and trampled on and whatever. And anyway, we did like jumping, like cross country jumping and fox hunting and just dangerous stuff. Like I'm surprised that I made it out okay, but those kids are tough as nails, man. But that's what I did when I was younger, and I didn't you know, I didn't even get into boys until later, way, way, way later, at the end of high school, because I always had a horse. I always had all these responsibilities to because I always had these competitions and stuff. But that was fun.
Funny. I did horses too. That's funny.
Horse save you.
Horses, oh man, I loved horses. I had a friend that had a horse up. I rode horses when I was a kid, when I was much younger. And that's a totally different story. I'm not even gonna get into that. But I also had a friend that lived up at the top of the hill, and I could walk to her house from my parents lived down at the bottom of the hill in Auburn, and then my friend lived up and like halfway up the hill on 112th. And so I could cut up through the apartments and go to her house, and we would ride horses in her yard all day long. And we did all the barrel jumping and the fence jumping, and we
Nice.
around the neighborhoods. And oh my God, yes, like dangerous stuff. Like I look back and I'm like, how did we not break our necks?
I know, right? Yeah. Crazy.
I was also into horses, but not like that one. My cousin Jen, she was actually a rodeo princess for many, many years.
Oh,
So
wow.
she did the barrel racing and all that jazz, and she did the roping and everything. She was badass. She's really, really cool chick. So she did that.
Roping horses are just so quick.
It's
amazing that those riders can stay on.
Yeah.
Not high. That is not for me.
My hidden talent happens to be throwing darts. I used to go to SCAs and I used to throw knives.
Whoa.
At the bear. Yeah, I throw knives, and I not really good at throwing axes, but daggers, they were pretty good. I always usually hit bullseyes or close to it. I was getting really good with that kind of stuff. I'm also part Viking too, so it's in my blood.
Maybe that's what it is. I like the axe throwing. I feel like the axe throwing is just a really good exercise in not having to have self-control for about 13 seconds.
You do not to throw axes with you, because I will throw backwards. I have like the worst throw skills ever.
Nobody will be left inside of the place, dude. I'm the same way. No. The axe never goes where I want it to, but it feels really good when it leaves my hand. Just sometimes it goes that way.
I mean, throwing the dice, the axes or the knives, it was just like throwing darts, but very, very heavy. You got to really have a good oomph to throw it.
Okay, I know what a hidden strength is that I have. I'll call it a hidden skill that I have.
Okay, all right.
I learned very young how to work on engines on cars, and so I know how to fix my car. I know how to fix things on cars. I can't do it anymore because my hands are crap, but I can talk anybody through it. Like I can show you exactly how to take out your alternator, change it out, put your new alternator back together, put it back together, and put the belt back on. I can change anything. I can swap an engine. I can do anything in a car, especially V8. I like the V8 motors. That is a skill that I definitely do have. Yeah, I have that.
That's super cool.
Yeah, I learned about it. I was surrounded by all these guys who stole cars when I was younger. You kind of learn a thing or two.
Right.
Like there was no way I was not going to learn how to do that. So,
all right. How have you ever used your voice to speak up for yourself and others? Of course, you guys have.
Yeah, like what was it? A week ago?
Right. Yeah, that episode got trashed. So.
No worries. It's okay. Yes, because speaking up for others who don't have a voice is very, very important. And can I talk about this for a second? Do you guys mind?
Yes.
Okay, because this is something that's important to me. Okay, because I mentioned earlier that I was homeless when I was a kid. Well, I think it's really important that we are bringing other people up, and that we do, use our voices to speak out for other people who don't have a voice. And in today's world, a lot of homeless people feel like they don't have a voice because there's this us versus them mentality, right? And the us versus them mentality isn't just them, it's also the other people on the other side, like, normies like us, right? Muggles, whatever you want to call us.
Yeah.
We're not homeless, so we're not looking at the world through the same perspective that they are. And a lot of people do not look at them like human beings. They look at them like pieces of shit stuck to the bottom of their shoe. And yeah, if we want to solve the homeless problem, I think the most important thing is to first realize that homeless people are people,
Right.
and they need a voice. And so that is something that I speak out about. So that's me using my voice.
There was a few times that someone on Facebook will actually rag on some homeless people and how they're living and joke with it. And I got on there like, excuse me, I used to be one of those, and identify what they are living and what they're doing. So I stood up for the homeless people they were talking about on their Facebook. Yeah, that didn't go very well. They stopped talking about it in front of me. Yeah,
Yeah, I do want to say that I don't think the homeless camps are a good idea. I think that's a terrible idea.
I do
Um,
too.
I do. I think that that's terrible. I think that it's a good place for people to hide. That shouldn't be hiding, and that's all bad. And that those homeless camps protect that kind of thing because they're trying to, there's a one for, all for one for all kind of thing in there. If I have, I give to you until I have none. I share whatever I have. That's kind of how it works when you're homeless. Like if I have a gallon of milk, everybody gets an 8-ounce cup, right? If I have a
Right,
pack of cigarettes, I'll flip over my Luckies. Those are mine. But everything that's not flipped over and is Lucky is I'll give those away to people, right?
right.
That's kind of how it works. And then everybody else works the same way. And so when you're looking at that kind of mentality about things, that invites people to come in who necessarily shouldn't be there, but who are going to hide among those people because they've got a perfect population they can prey on, and B, that perfect population that they're preying on is also protecting them. And so, no, I don't think that the homeless camps are a good place at all. I don't think those are good at all. I would never have lived in something like that. I did live in a doorway with a group of kids that were there was various ages of the kids. The oldest of us was 21. The youngest of us was me. I was 12. And we all lived in a doorway together, but that was it was not a homeless camp. It was like there was like 5 of us that just kind of stuck together. And then the players would swap out. There'd be other people that would come in. Like one day Casper wouldn't be there and Rat would be there, or Rat would be gone and Pack Rat would show up, or we'd have Pack Rat and Rat and Caveman, or Veronica would be there, or we'd have Kelsey from down over here would come and join the pack, and then we would just like travel in this pack of kids. And it was like how we protected ourselves and stayed safe. Never go out by yourself, never be alone, that kind of thing. But at the same time, like, you don't want to be in a group of like hundreds of people where people who can hurt you are going to hide. And as a kid, you're really aware of that stuff. So like we
Right.
slept under bridges a lot and like things like that. But it's like, I think the homeless people, I go out and I really do, like, I talk to the homeless people. I make lunches for them sometimes and take them out there. I used to do it every Christmas with my kids. We would go out and make homeless lunches for the homeless and take them out. And we looked for people who were not going to the big feeds, the people who were still sitting behind the dumpsters or hanging out underneath the freeways, or maybe sitting in a park somewhere kind of by themselves. We didn't want to go. Those people who were at the big feeds went to that. They were socializing. They were taking advantage of services that were offered by other places. And our goal was to try to give to those people that weren't taking advantage of that didn't want to be in those big groups of people for whatever reason, because I was always kind of away from the pack. I never went into the pack like that. And there's a safety in that, there's just a safety in that. So there's a lot of components to it, I think, but that's a big one for me. So yeah, sorry. Okay, off
You
my
you
soap.
good. You good. All right, Sunny, how about you?
What was the question again?
Sorry.
Really
How
into
how
again,
have you used your voice to speak up for others, yourself, and for others besides 2 weeks ago?
yeah, well, that's the way I am. I've always been one to like be very blunt with people. You know, people don't know that that anything is wrong unless you say it, you know. People don't like the truth. It's hard to be someone who's reflective and not look in the mirror and see my truth. And sometimes it's maybe I've lied to myself about things, and I have to like come to a Jesus moment about it, you know, sometimes. And where was I going with this?
I don't know.
I just think, you know, what I do for a living during the day, I'm a stylist, and most of my clientele are women, and most are women who are searching for that fountain of youth. And it's like, no matter how hard they try, they're never gonna feel what it feels like to be needed and wanted and feel safe and all this unless you find it for yourself. Because nobody's gonna fulfill that. They might temporarily fulfill that, but change always happens somehow in life. So I think that teaching women to like really like look in the mirror and love who you are and do what you do with all of your might, with all of the gifts that God has given you. It's like such a personal thing, you know, to like, and just, it's hard to inspire people all the time, but you know, why not? What would be a negative all the time about stuff in life? And this is a very heavy life, but what would that really do? You know, sometimes I bullshit my way through life, and that's by thinking positive, and it actually does create positive around you too in your space. But anyway, that has nothing to do with whatever you were talking about. This is just what I felt like talking about.
You're perfectly fine. Alrighty.
Welcome.
You're right. All right. So, what about personal boundaries? Have you set? Have you helped? And have you helped? Have that help you feel more empowered?
It's burned a lot of bridges.
Same here.
But I don't care, because those aren't people that I would want to hang with anyway. You know?
Yeah, there's a few people that I actually burn bridges, and I'll actually pour the gasoline on it myself and torched it myself. Yeah. Do not cross over. I'm done.
Yeah.
I've done that. What was the question?
What personal boundaries have you set, and how have they helped you feel more empowerment?
Okay, so I'm just gonna throw this out there. I feel like as a musician, boundaries is kind of a thing, like all the way across the board for like pretty much all of us. I think that's something we all struggle with. I don't really know how to set good boundaries. I don't really know how to do boundaries. I'm working on it. I'm learning about boundaries. I have burnt a few bridges because sometimes my boundaries are way too far way too far up front when they should be back a little bit, and other times they're not far enough up when they should be and they're back too far. And so I'm still working on this. So that's a challenge.
Yeah, I learned boundaries through my therapist. And so she set boundary. Okay, what can you possibly do right now? What is your boundaries now? Like, okay, I will walk her through day by day. She's okay. Now take one more step. What else can you do? So she basically walked me through setting my boundaries. And
That's
then
cool.
finally I realized, I will go and say, hey, do I want to do this? No, I don't really want to do this. And I will get this gut feeling in myself, like, go back to gut feelings. Do I really want to do this situation? No, I really don't want to do this. Do I really care? No, I don't really care about a certain situation. And I will go the other direction. So setting your boundaries is very, very important to everybody. And if they start respecting your boundaries, then that's not what you can do. You just gotta let them do what they gotta do. That's how I feel about it anyway.
My problem was I never knew about any of this. You know, like I went through my whole life just totally thinking I just didn't know there was rhyme or reason to like breakups of relationships or breakups of bands or or breakups of friendship. Like, I didn't know there was like a technical term for how messed up this is. And literally, like, if you're not vibing on the exact same vibration, like if you're like this, you're not gonna get along. Or, you know, if people's morals and levels of respect are not the same, if they've spent their lives manipulating and gaslighting and doing this thing and that's all they know, you're not going to vibe with them, because that's not, you're not even on the same equator of thinking as, you know. And it's like, again, I don't know where I'm going with this, but
Okay, well, it gives me an idea. I mean, in my past, before I went to therapy, therapy treatment, I would actually not understand why things are happening. Why is this happening? So I will go to that person. Let's just say that you and we all broke up, and I will I will try to talk to you, saying, "Why did not this not work?" That's me. That's what I would do, and then I would overbalance so that boundary because I don't understand what happened. But I had to go to therapy to learn, oh, that's not a good thing to do.
well, here's
So,
what I found since all I've learned about all that is none of it even matters, because this is where you were supposed to be. So
right.
nothing is for nothing. So whatever it plays,
True.
the way it happens is supposed to be happening. It's just, we just need to like understand that it's all for the greater learning of us, you know, and how we learn to break the pattern and the cycles that we've been repeating over and over and over again, you know.
Mm-hmm. Great.
I don't want to repeat the
Alrighty.
same cycles over and over and over again. That
Me
sounds like a
neither. I'm done.
I
I'm
know.
done with the
really
repeat.
bad
I'm
idea. I feel like I need to change that.
Yeah.
This whole stop the press. It needs to stop.
yes, I agree. No more cycles. I'm done and over with it.
Yes.
Okay, so next one, we're going to go to leadership and influences. How can you demonstrate a perspective that leading or be powerful as to look or sound a certain way?
What?
Huh?
I didn't grasp that.
How can we dismantle the perspective that leading or being powerful has to look or sound a certain way?
I'm going to handle this from a singer's perspective. My whole life, I was on stage in sequins and 5-inch heels and parading around and drinking champagne and, you know, doing this thing. And that was me. And I sang, like, I tried to sing every single singer just like they sounded in my head. I tried to like emulate them, you know. If it was Madonna, I was going to dress like her. I was going to be her for that 3 minutes of that song. And I didn't know who I was when I reached, you know, my 40s. I didn't know what I sounded like. I didn't know what I represented. I didn't know. And it wasn't until I went through cancer 7 years ago, and it was real bad. It was a stage 4.5. I was terminal. I don't know how I'm here. It was bad. My lungs were radiated. They cut out a big hole out of my sternum, and it was just bad. I was heartbroken. And when I picked a guitar up and started writing again, and this was not until like 4 years ago. So this was what? Anyway, 4 years ago, I started writing again. And I just thought, you know what? I don't care how fast my vibrato is, or what if I go off tune here and there, or what if people don't like my songs? I just thought, or what if they don't like what I'm wearing, because I don't want to wear sequin dresses anymore. And I just thought, what does this mean to me to be beautiful? Well, I like vintage clothing. I like different textures of velvets and satins, and I like different hairstyles, and I like to be the most beautiful me I can be in that moment that I feel that that's pretty. And if tomorrow, if I think I'm pretty somewhere else and wearing something else, okay, but this is me right now. And I don't sing now. I don't sound like other people. I think I sound like me. And I don't give a shit if some people don't think it's pretty. This is who I sound like. This is me. And I'm not going to emulate anybody. And I'm going to dress the way I feel like dressing and expressing who I truly feel I am on the inside. And now I'm 53 years old, and I say that I can do that now because I've done the time. Now it's time to just live the way I want to live and look the way I want to look.
Yeah, hear ya.
Hell yeah. I think that's the right. I think that's right. I don't know. I think leader, yeah, I think the leader isn't necessarily like, actually, I've had a lot of conversations about being a leader lately. So I am prepared for this question. I think it's important that a leader should lead with kindness. I feel like that's important. I feel like the family is the most effective way to run things. And so like when you're a band leader, like you gotta like basically your band is your family. And like these guys, you just gotta make sure you take care of them. Like everybody plays a role and like nobody's role is any more or less important than the other person. So like, cause we can't do what we do without any of us, you know, like it without one of the elements, there's something missing. So like you have to lead with kindness and treat it like it's a family and, you know, make sure that including other people's input, relying on other people when they are better at something than you are or know more about something than you do, because Lord knows I don't know shit. And I say that all the time. I don't know shit. You know, but I'm learning. I'm always learning, you know, and I think that's like, I don't know. Like, I think a leader doesn't necessarily have to look like a, you know, older, short-haired boomer dude. You know, I think it can be a 5 foot tall chick. You know, I think it can be any number of different people that, you know, it just depends on, you know, what you want to do with yourself and where you want to go and how you're trying to drive your boat.
Yep, I totally agree with that one. Being a leader is basically owning up your own mistakes, I think, and learning from your mistakes and helping others see if they're going through the exact same path, maybe help them out a little bit. But of course, if they don't really see what they're doing wrong, and you just let them be. But I think a leader or being empowerment is basically guiding people that wants to be guided, that wants to be helpful, that wants to get out of the situation. So that's where I go. That's where my definition of that.
Okay.
Alrighty. So next one, what are the some subtle ways you can empower? I can't. Why I can't say empower? I don't know. What are some ways you could empower others in your workplace for or community? As singers, how can you inspire others?
These are hot buttons.
Well,
yeah.
Can I take this for just a sec?
Go for it. Because Meghanne's over there having an anxiety attack while she's listening to this question.
Okay, well, I think that the songs that I write are so deep and raw and just cut you like a knife because I try really hard to describe certain circumstances that maybe someone would never put into words, but I try to do it in a poetic way. And a lot of the songs that I write, I try to write in a way where the audience will be able to interpret it due to their meaning of whatever they've been through. And what was the question?
The question is, what are some ways you can empower others in your workplaces or your community?
God, I just don't even know where I was going with that.
Okay. I think
wait, 1 minute. Wait. I was just gonna say, I think that the songs that I write empower women because a lot of my songs are about this doom and gloom thing. And then they take a turn halfway through, and then the woman puts her crown on and fixes her tiara and moves off and flies away like a butterfly. And so that I believe that like a lot of my show is, I try to be super inspiring to those going through some rough patch that may seem to never end.
Right.
Hendrix.
Okay, Meghanne. Oh, you.
Okay. I think that I was going to say the same thing with Sunny. I think that the best way that I can empower people or empower women is through my songs. I do the same thing. I write about not necessarily situations. Most of the time it's feelings that it's very selfish. I'm just writing about feelings that I'm struggling with, and it bothers me that I feel this way, and I put it into a song, and then I listen to myself sing it, or I listen to the song and I'm like, oh, other people might like that. So I'll try and sing it in other places. I think it's important to try and make it so that people can interpret it however they need to or whatever. But my songs are really emotional songs. Like, I mean, really, a lot of them are. They're either songs about, gut wrenching feelings that I'm struggling with, or yeah, shit sucks, but try to look at the bright side is the general message of a lot of the stuff I write, lemons into lemonade kind of thing. And I just write about that a lot, because you really do. Yeah, things are really hard, but you have to look for the bright side of things. And I think that the best way I can empower other young women or older women or women of our generation of my own generation is to, encourage people to use their creative outlets. So like, I encourage people to sing a lot. I encourage people to play music. If somebody wants to go to a jam and they're looking for somebody to come with them and to play with them on stage or whatever, I'll come up with them, just to give them that sense of security or whatever. I do that with a few people because I think it's important to have that outlet. And I think that that's the best way that I can empower people, is like to encourage that creativity in them.
Cool. We're fine. How am I empowering with the workplace or community? Well, I do have a tiny little staff behind LTATM, and they are the best staff I've had so far. I do have a lawyer that's behind LTATM, and we were talking most of the day today, and he's awesome. I mean, I was going through some stuff, and he just helped me go through some things, and just know that there's a brighter side behind what's going on personally, what I'm going through. So it's just having that back, having that and knowing you have someone in your back, in your corner, makes it while in your workplace or in your community, where that way I can shine and bring my best LTA team to the world.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta have that support. I feel you're gonna need to. Alrighty. So how can you encourage and support women non-traditionally leadership roles?
How can you support women in non-traditional leadership roles?
Yeah.
Is that the question?
I think every role of a woman is a leadership role.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm like, pretty much that's our job on this planet, is to be a leader. And we have to be like a subtle leader, but yeah, I mean, everything we do, running our household, to raising our kids, to grocery shopping, to going to work, to everything we do, taking care of our animals.
Nurturing. Women we are meant to nurture. We are meant to, be the caretakers and the keeper of the keys. It's always been the women.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like we're natural, like natural managers almost, with the way that we nurture and stuff. Like it, and I see it in a lot of women. It's just the natural ability to kind of keep things going, even when everything's falling apart. Tupac said it. My mama made miracles every Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, let's move on to challenges and stereotypes and norms. Have you witnessed or experienced a, I don't know that word, is micro, I don't know what it is. So I'm going to redo that again without that word. Have you experienced, witnessed or experienced, yeah, what is that word? My goodness. Anyway, and how are they impact your life? I need to find out what that word is. So I'll skip that one and go to the next one. How do you combat the myth that women should be super capable in all areas of life?
Well, it doesn't matter how good you are at anything, because if we're all about wanting to belong and being in love and stuff, the wrong person, you could be the most perfect human in the whole wide world and everything you possibly can do, and you still won't be right for some people. So you have to love yourself even when you're messing up, and even when you're in pain. You have to like honor that that's like something that it's an earthly experience, that we're really blessed to be.
Miss Megan,
What was the question again? I'm sorry.
you're good. How do you combat the myth that women should be super capable in all areas of life?
Well, we're not. It's just a fact. Like, women are women. We're just people. We're all freaking people. And yeah, women have different brains that work differently from men, and men's brains work differently from women. But Lord knows we don't expect men to be perfect all the time. So they should probably stop expecting us to be perfect. And honestly, it's not even them, I don't think. I think we are the ones who expect ourselves to be perfect. I think we are the hardest on ourselves when it comes to that. And that's something that we need to work on with ourselves, because there's really no such thing as a perfect human. If we were all meant to be perfect, we would not be humans. We would be our own little gods with our own little universe, with our own little humans on our own little rock. Like, you know what I mean? And we're not. We're on this rock. So in this universe. So however it's designed, we are not perfect. Like, it just is what it is, and we're going to mess up. And I think it's more important to learn how to learn from your mistakes and keep moving forward, and not, just make the same stumble over and over again. I think that's more important than it is to worry about being perfect. And that's pretty much how I take it. Like, perfection. Now, don't ask me about my vocals, because that's a whole nother story. But but when it
All
comes
right.
to life in general, like, no, I'm not perfect. I apologize to my kids all the time because I'm not an Orthodox mom.
Right. Yeah, I'm not perfect. I mean, this podcast is, I'm going through what I want to do with it. And so it's not perfect. I stumble every over myself. I admit that. So, but I'm still doing it. Not gonna stop doing it just because someone doesn't like what I'm doing. So,
Yeah, you can't stop. You can't
Everything
stop
no.
doing what you love. You can't stop following your passion.
was perfect, there would be, uh-oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, my thing is dying, I think.
You switch to your phone?
No, my iPad is, I have 8% left.
You need to go to your phone?
Yeah, I might want to do that. I was just gonna
Yeah.
say, if everything was perfect, then why are we even here?
Right? I totally agree.
We're only
So,
here just to learn, so that's why there's little hiccups all the way.
yeah, I totally agree. All
Okay.
right. Let's go back to the question before because I figure out what that word means. So I'll just use what the definition was. So the question was, how have you witnessed or experienced anyone negative on things, and how have they impacted you and others?
I don't,
Negative.
Yeah,
I,
so anything negative, everyday sights, insults, actions, negative attitude towards any kind of group. So it's all negative. So how have you witnessed or experienced anything negative, and how do they impact you and and others?
I have had some real bad things happen in this business, especially, bar owners, patrons, people that just don't like me. they think that I walk in all arrogant when I'm actually quietly having a panic attack and just not speaking to people, you know. People perceive you the way they are going to perceive you. And some people just don't like you. They don't even get to know you. They don't even say 2 words to you. And a lot of times I've ran into these bar venue owners and stuff that have done some pretty down and dirty stuff and said some awful things to me, and that, you know, in general, they wouldn't treat their clientele like that, but they treat people behind the scenes that are working for them like that. And I've gotten to the point that I'm just pretty much a recluse. You know, I don't want to go out and be in crowds and hang out with people that are drunk and pawing on me. And I just can't, you know, I'd rather stay home and create and write music. And I think that's better for my soul experience here, you know, that I don't deal with all that negativity. But I've encountered a lot, and especially because of this business.
Yeah.
So,
Miss Megan?
Oh man, negativity. I've encountered some negativity. I just don't let it get me down. I gotta stay positive, because like there's just so much shit that's happened in this life, and you can, for me, I can either look at all the bad stuff and just be like, damn, or I can be like, okay, but I got to do this. Okay, but I got to do this. Okay, but I got to do that. Like, I mean, yeah, I grew up homeless, but I got to run away with the circus. How many people got to do that? You know, I mean, come on. I got to swing from the trapeze and drop into the net after the circus show and hang out with the trapeze guy's
That's
daughter. Like,
awesome.
you know, come on. Who can say this stuff? Like, I'm just like, you know, you gotta look at the bright side of things. And people hit me with negativity. I get a lot of it in my life. I have people in my life who tell me that I love music more than I love my kids, which is insanity. I have people who tell me that I need an AA program for music because I'm addicted to it. I've had people tell me that I'll never amount to anything, that I'm chasing pipe dreams. I mean, you name it. I'm a better writer than I am a singer. I don't have the right look for stage. This isn't really, you're too old. That's another one I've heard. I really do not. I don't care. I don't care. I am running my own program. Nobody can live my lifetime but me. I don't care. You can be as negative about me as you want. Maybe what you need to do is turn that around on yourself and fix yourself so that you don't have to be so negative to other people.
what was the question?
The question was, have you witnessed any experience of negativity,
Oh, yeah.
like insults, actions, and negative attitude towards
All day long. All day long.
Yeah, all day long.
You know, people get an attitude when they see someone on stage. I call it the stage effect. You know, the women get mad, the men want to stalk you. You're never anybody's friend. You know, it's the stage effect. And it's a really lonely life. I really wouldn't like wish this kind of lifestyle to anyone. We're not the people that will, you know, be, you know, these happy little homemakers and working behind a desk and wearing a, you know, suit. You know, this is a different lifestyle, and it always has been. And, you know, it comes with its curses of little quirks, like, you know, I don't like crowds. I, you know, and all the weird stuff that make me tick. But it's all about, it's been molded in me through all these years of, you know, being a musician. It just does. And I tried to, you know, be a little homemaker and raise my children and be a wife and all that. And it just, you know, in the end, it just kind of flipped back to who I really am. And this is me.
Right. The reason
You're trying to be something you're not.
Right.
Yeah. Right. The recent thing that I've done, I've been doing a lot of changes, and people still knows me in the past, which I get. I get it. But that's not who I am anymore. That's who I'm not trying to be anymore. And they look more at my past than I do. And so I'm just like, I can't continue, you know, yelling and screaming, that's not who I am, but I will stand up for myself if I continue to do so. So, that's the negativity I'm facing right now. So just like get to know who I am now and remember how I used to be, sure. But I'm a whole new person right here.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
all righty. What are some ways to promote diversity? I'll skip that one. How can you challenge gender stereotypes that limit opportunities and expectation for women?
What?
How can you challenge gender stereotypes that limit opportunities and expectation for women?
Well, I mean,
That was a stubborn,
this
isn't
is
it?
a hard pass, dude. I gotta pass this one.
Okay. Anything
I
about
gotta
you
pass.
about?
Well, I'll say this. For the most part, women can do everything that men can do. We just do it in a different way.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And to
Yes.
not be subservient and stand up for what is right. And if someone, man or woman, tries to belittle you or make you feel less than, the problem is them, it's not you.
Right.
And so that goes for businesses, that goes for relationships, that goes for everything. So just be you, do you, no matter what. And
Don't get sucked into the stereotypes, I guess would be the thing I
right.
would say. I can't, it's hard for me to comment on stereotypes because I just don't play into it. I don't fall into it. I don't believe in it. I don't care about it. It irritates me. It makes me angry. Like I don't like stereotypes. I think stereotyping people is not the right idea because when you stereotype people, you miss so much of what's happening, so I just don't. I am who I am. Deal with it. You either like me or you don't. I don't care. Not everybody likes tomatoes.
I like it. Aaron, I like tomatoes. You true. Alrighty. This is a good question for you guys. It's all going towards creative things. Okay. How can we create more? Oh, that has nothing to do with creativity. Ha! Sorry. How can we create more society where everyone is guileless? I'm gonna skip that one too. All right. Foster and sisterhood and support. What steps have you taken to build support network of women in your life?
Well, I met this girl over here. Well, I guess she's on that side.
Yeah,
I met that girl right there. Over
I
here.
met Meghanne, and then I met Sunny, and here we are together.
Yeah, I met Sunny. And Sunny is like awesome. So, yeah, that was good. That was good.
I
That
have
was
to
really, really
agree,
good.
Sunny. We're gonna
I was actually really, really
oh,
excited. I have to tell you, I was really, really excited when I first met Sunny because I was like, there's got to be another girl singer-songwriter in the world. There's got to be another girl singer-songwriter in the world that I like, that I can actually talk to. There's got to be somebody that I can actually talk to. And like I had met a few people, but mostly all I was finding was guys. And there's like a lot of guys that write songs and not a lot of women singer-songwriters out there. And then all of a sudden I'm at this open mic one night out in Gig Harbor. And there's this girl and she sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And then she sang this song I'd never heard. And I was like, oh shit, did she write that? And it was you. And I'm like, oh no, we got to be friends. And I looked her up on Facebook and she knew a bunch of people I knew. And I was like, oh no, we are friends. And here we are. We're friends.
Here we are.
Cool.
Here we are.
Yeah, I've been wanting to see sunrise for a longest time. And I was about to go see you. Yeah, I want to go see about a month ago. And I was on my way and I realized I left my wallet at work.
Oh no.
And that's where you were performing with Get a Lily that night.
Oh yeah.
And I was super excited to be there.
Yeah.
And I got there had no wallet. I'm like,
oh yeah, we shot a
but
video.
I took photos. I took photos. I prove I was here.
Oh, that's so cool.
I took shots of Nance on stage through the window.
Nice. Oh. Well,
So
we'll have
she goes,
lots
"Why did you
of
come in?"
we'll be having lots of shows coming up. And
All right, I'll check you out.
yeah, it's and anybody who's listening, please like and follow Sunrust on Facebook and Instagram, and check out one of our live shows. And and we just finished that video. Actually took
Right.
3 days, and we just finished the last shoot last week, so it should be out in about a month. It'll be a good one.
Cool.
It's called Crack the Code. Yeah.
Can't wait. I can't wait.
And
I
how
love
I
that
met
thing.
Meghanne is that I reached out to her to try to do a podcast last summer, and it didn't work out the way I wanted it. And so we came in, we stayed close to each other, and she came on episode 2, and now she's here in episode 19.
Hello.
I
Here I am.
know. So we got
I think it's
2
cool.
more.
I like the way all this works because I feel like I have all these cool coworkers, but we don't actually have to go to the office.
Right.
No office. All right, so I got 2 more questions. I really like to have you guys answer this one, and then we'll go in what we're going to be doing on March 23rd. Okay?
Okay.
Sorry.
2 questions. How can we better support young girls in developing their self-esteem and confidence?
It's really hard today. It's really, really hard today because the standards that I don't know, actually. When we were kids, there was like this cookie cutter version of what a woman was supposed to look like. She was all over the magazine racks. She was all over the television. If you didn't look like her, you weren't really good enough. I was not tall enough, nor was I pretty enough or blonde, or my hair was like so red. I just, I was like, okay, whatever. I'm good. I'm not even going to try. But I think a lot of other people like really tried to meet that standard. A lot of my friends really did. They tried to meet the standard and they made themselves so sick, they with eating disorders and all kinds of things. And like, I see different things in kids today than I did as a mom of an 11-year-old. I have a 25-year-old too. And I think I see different things in girls, today that than I did when I was a kid, for sure. Like in my daughter's generation, my older daughter's generation, young women were looking for somewhere where they could be. Like these girls would show up at my house and they would sit and they would just tear each other's clothes apart, cut them apart, do each other's hair, put makeup on, and then they'd go walk down to the park, and then they'd turn around, they'd come back, and they'd take all the makeup off and take all their hair down and change their clothes back into their regular clothes and go home. And it was like this, and that's all they did. And then they started taking pictures. And so they've got all these pictures of themselves dressed up like this at the park. Like they didn't really do anything. But then like I find out later on that these girls, after they're going home and they're changing out and they're not being free to be themselves, they're like cutting their skin, and they're seriously engaging in like some serious self-harm stuff. And I'm just like, wow, okay. How can I intervene there? And it wasn't even a matter of like, it was just providing them with a place to talk, a place where they felt like they could talk and be themselves. And so when I see my youngest daughter's generation now, they're like all on the phones, right? Like their whole life is lived on this phone. They get up in the morning and they've got 6 people on the video chat, and they're all video chatting about what they're going to wear to school. They go to school, they're on the bus. 2 people can sit here, 2 people can sit there. So they video chat with each other on the bus. And then they're in school all day, and then they're on the bus video chatting. They come home and they're video chatting. They don't actually go to each other's houses very often. They don't go to the park anymore. They're not meeting up and going to the roller skating rink. Nobody wants to go to the swimming pool. Nobody wants to go do these activities. They just hide in their rooms and they're on the video chat. And so I think the best thing for these younger girls and this younger generation is to teach them, A, they're okay being who they are, and B, go outside.
Yeah.
Right.
Get some sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's strange. I don't really understand the way that everything's changed. The socialism has just changed. It's very strange to me. I miss the gathering places when you could like walk down to your local restaurant, coffee shop, bar, find your group of people, one of 15 people would be there and you'd have somebody to talk to for an hour, you know? I miss that.
Right. I miss that too. All right, Miss Sunny, how about you?
I have two sons. I don't have little girls. And I don't really work with, during the day when I'm a stylist. Once in a while, I'll have like a young woman or a young girl come in. And for the most part, they don't feel good about themselves. They're trying to live up to their best friend, or, they're terrified, and I think that, we just really need to keep pushing the ideal that it's not really, we are all so individual and we're all beautiful in our own way, and there's nothing to stress out about. If you want to, however you want to look or what you want to eat, or that's your prerogative. You can't control other people. That's their lesson to learn, but you can be inspiring and you can point out the good things that they have about them, and what good that they can do for the world with the talents that God has given them, and focus on happiness and positive, and just like do what your dreams, like dream big, and even if those dreams don't pan out the way you think that they're going to, that doesn't mean that they still might be happening in a different way.
Right. Okay. My inspiration is that you don't need a partner. It's great to have one, but you don't really need a partner to get through life. If you cannot find a partner, it's okay to be single until you find the right person.
Yep.
I agree with that.
Me too.
I am okay being single. I've been single for a long time. I mean, I date here and there, but living with somebody, having somebody in my house, like an actual like partner, it's too much for me.
Yeah. I would like to have a partner. It would be great, but I'm not going to go out and force person to be with me. That's not who I am. Maybe some people might give me the vibes that they're interested, but just like, but they kind of like go off. Like, okay, bye. So yeah, you don't need someone to make yourself happy. I mean, be nice, but that's my 2 cents. All right. The next question is, how can you create a safe space for women to share experience and challenges?
Well, during my work during the day, I'm like the therapist. A hairdresser is the therapist. Everybody wants to tell you their deal. I know all the secrets. The ladies tell it all to me. And, that's like my responsibility to keep that under wraps. Like I can never, it's like a psychiatrist, like what they tell you, no one will ever hear. This has to be like a safe space, because when you're like working on someone's hair or their makeup or teaching them how to be beautiful, maybe nobody has ever shown that to them. Maybe nobody touches them just by running your fingers through their hair. Like some people don't get that. And that's what they're paying me for an hour to do, is to make them, when they leave, they're the most beautiful them that they can be. And that's a huge responsibility for me. I don't take that lightly. So I do totally try to inspire women every single day. And, as far as like the guitar playing and stuff, like I think I try to be inspiring anyway, for the sheer fact that I lived, and that somehow I was able to like start over again and actually be the best person, musician, everything that I've ever dreamt of. And I never even thought I was going to even get this chance again, because I thought I was going to die. And also, why not just off myself anyway, because I was so brokenhearted after being dumped during that whole time, and chemotherapy is no joke. It's barbaric. And I really, if I'm not just a walking inspiration to everyone, I don't know who is, because I'm telling you, I shouldn't be here right now. And I don't know why God kept me alive, but this guitar is a reason. Like, I feel that the songs needed to be written, regardless of how bad it hurt me. I'm just the conduit. So that's a huge responsibility. And that's what it's all about, is inspiring others, not just women, everyone.
Right. Miss Meghanne?
Can you repeat the question again? Sorry.
Absolutely. How can you create a safe space for women to share their experience and challenges?
I mean, I just let them talk to me. I just open it up and I try to, open up I try to be approachable, I guess is what I'm looking for, the word I'm looking for. I try to make sure that my daughter's friends know that I'm approachable, because that's really the only young women that I have access to. I mean, other than going out and playing, I don't really do much of anything else other than music. That's all I do. And I do try to inspire people through music for sure. Absolutely. But it's more about the creative process for me. Like when I'm inspiring people with music, I'm like, do what you do. Don't do what I do. Do what you do. If you do what I do, cool. But if you do what you do and you do you, I try to make sure that the kids feel comfortable. They can talk to me. They know that they have an open place here. They're safe here. They always can stay here. They can bring all their problems to me. I'm not gonna, if they need to talk to their mom, I'll go with them to talk to their mom. A lot of times they don't want to talk to their moms about stuff that's going on. So, we make appointments with moms and have moms come over for lunch, or we meet them somewhere and we'll talk about the stuff that's going on that they need to talk to their mom about or something. Like I just try to be an open person for them.
Good. All right. Right. I'm also going to piggyback with you, Sunny, that I should not be here either. I've been fighting depression all of my life. And before I put the show on hold, I almost did it again. Took pills. I was going to go to sleep for a while because I got tired of life, and that was my breaking point. Okay, I can either continue going down this path, or I need to change it. So that's why another reason why I was gone for 6 years, to change me. So I shouldn't have been here either, but here I am. So
Congratulations.
you too. Congratulations with you as well.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so we are going to celebrate Women of Creativity on March 23rd. Meghanne Storey got a hold of me through Messenger, asking if I want to be part of this celebration. I'm like, yeah, duh. And wanted me to introduce me to Sunny, and here we are celebrating this wonderful festival that you guys are putting together on Sunday, March 23rd. So, ladies, this is your idea. This is your cue to tell us all about this festival.
I'm really excited about this because I am all about celebrating creativity and other people and putting the spotlight on people. And I think this is a great idea. And I'm really excited to be part of it and get it going. And we're just going to have a bunch of beautiful women come and bring their beautiful wares. We've looked high and low for the best people around the sound to bring their artistic flair and what they do, and we want them to come and shine on this Sunday afternoon. So it's going to be a great time for everybody. Gina Bellevue is going to be there, and Sunny and I are going to be there, and then we've got several different visual artists of all kinds that are coming to set up tables with their different wares, and people will be able to kind of peruse and look at different things and ask questions and talk to people and buy stuff, and I'm really excited about it.
Cool. Sunny, so
Yeah, it's going to be great. We're going to share the stage, all three of us, and share our songs that we've written. And, while people listen to the show, they'll be able to browse around and buy different things that these Northwest women have made. There's going to be like glass beads and paintings and jewelry, and just it'll be so much fun, and it's open to the public. And I think tickets are on sale now. It's going to be held at the Spanish Ballroom on March 23rd. And yeah, so Meghanne and I, we started talking about, she asked me if I would join her on this bill, and I said sure. And then I'm like, let's do something bigger. And she's like, yeah, let's. And we just put our heads together and we came up with this. Well, why don't we make it about Northwest women artists, and let's hand pick them ourselves through people that we know and people who we've, loved to see and stuff. And we're thinking about making this a yearly thing, like an annual, gala. And it just happens that it's during Women's History Month now. Didn't know,
Right.
but that just kind of coincided with the whole thing. So it should be a really, really fun afternoon. And it's a Sunday, and it's going to be earlier in the day. So bring everyone. Men are invited too. It's just going to be a nice, all ages event.
Cool. Rock
It
on.
is all ages, right, Meghanne?
Yes, it is. It's
Okay,
all
good.
ages, and it's early. The doors open at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so
Perfect.
definitely families can come and they can check things out. And it's going to be there's the restaurant outside the Spanish Ballroom. There's food inside at the bar in the Spanish Ballroom.
Actually, I think it opens at 4, doesn't it?
Nope, our doors are
now
opening at 3. Our show starts at 4. We get to start
Oh.
early.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm
All right,
very
cool.
excited about that. Yeah, I'm like,
Nice.
woohoo! An early show on a Sunday.
Yeah, cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
No late night
And
stuff on a school night. I'm very happy about that.
I'm taking the day off to be part of this event where I am seeking other women to be part of the live recording of this episode, and it will be spotlight of creative women. So I'll do the history like I did here, and we'll have interviews with powerful women who wants to be part of the show. And then I will also go around and do little clips here for little spots for everybody that wants to be part of it, little spots of their little venues. And that's what I'm trying. That's what I want to work on. I have new toys I want to work out, and I didn't get a chance to work on it. So I'm hoping my toys work. That's what it is. So. And so I'll also have my tribute blogger along for the ride. He'll be there. And if you guys want anyone who's wanting to watch this is going to want him to do a tribute for any bands, he'll be there to take up a little sign sheet, little know what you want him to write about. So he'll be doing that as well. And then I'm going to have my favorite t-shirts, buttons, keychains, because I'm making them right now. So yeah, it'll be a lot of fun.
Yes, it will.
Cool.
I'm looking at it. Very, very cool.
Very,
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 very
cool.
cool. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a really good time.
It's gonna be a fantastic time. I'm excited about it. So I feel honored for you guys to handpick me personally. Thank you. Alrighty, so let us plug you guys self, even though Sunny's been doing it already. But Meghanne, you plug yourself, and then we'll have Sunny do it again.
Oh, my name's Meghanne Storey. You guys should follow my band on like YouTube and Facebook, where all of our events are posted. Come out and see a show. We've got a song coming out on Friday. I'm very excited about it. It's called Overwhelmed. It comes out on March 14th. That is this Friday. That's in like 3 days. Can you believe it? I'm very excited about that song. It's the first song with my band, and then we've got another song coming out right after that. So we'll be going into the studio and doing another one after that, so we can keep the momentum up. But yes, I'm super stoked. Come see a show, Meghanne Storey. It's hard to spell. There's a lot of extra letters.
All right,
throw
Sunny.
these in the Google, and you'll find me.
All right, Sunny, go for it.
I'm in a band called Sunrust, SUNRUST. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook. We have 2 music videos out, La Luna and Nightbird. Meghanne was in one of those videos. You can see her do a cameo, so check those out on YouTube. We have we just finished a new music video. It's called Crack the Code. That'll be out in a month. And we have shows coming up at the Spanish Ballroom and the Central Saloon and different events every month. And we'd love to see you at a show. We have a full band now, and we're all original Gothic folk.
Awesome. And I am Shels. So let's talk about the music. You can listen to the podcast on Audio Boom on Wednesdays at 8 a.m. It drops every single Wednesday. And on Saturdays at 8 a.m. as well on YouTube. Saturdays. And then I do write a blog. It comes out when I have time to finish writing them out and push them out. So it's still there. I'm still catching up. And you can find me on my webpage, let's talk about music.com or LTATM.com. And also, I have a brand new podcast helper. He's actually making trailers for me to push out. So you'll probably see them around on the Facebook page. So, yeah. And that's been about me. So, all right. Well, thank you guys, ladies, for coming onto the show. And I'll see you guys on March 23rd.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to say one thing. Hey, this band Sunrest, I'm really excited to go see them. I keep missing my opportunity, but I'm going to catch them. And you guys should totally come catch them with me because this
Me too. I'm catching
Meghanne, we got to come see you too.
Oh,
hey,
man,
maybe we'll be on a bill together sometime.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do that.
We played at the Spanish Ballroom together before, and that show ran well. It was good.
It was a good
Cool,
show. It was a good
cool.
show. We should do it again.
Do a bill together, and we'll all be together. Maybe March 23rd might be that day. I don't know.
Well, March 23rd is a day for solo singer-songwriters.
Yeah, that's just a solo.
Oh, there's a solo singers. Okay, gotcha.
My band actually doesn't come back to Tacoma until June 13th. We're all over the place. We're not playing in Tacoma. We're at the Real Art on June 13th with Taylor Harden and the Kent School.
I just played there this last week, and I love that room. It was, yeah, I really liked it a lot.
Well, maybe we should put something there. Me and you should put something.
Totally.
I love Real
yeah,
Art.
totally.
I love Real Art.
We'll chat. Me and you will chat. Yeah.
1, 2, 3. All right, that is it for episode 19. So here is a little highlight of what happened, how great it was on March 23rd. And you'll get the full details of the whole festival on April 9th. All right, because I have a lot of footage I had to get to. So, ladies, tell them how it was. All right, we're doing the aftermath of the Spotlight Creative Women in the Pacific Northwest here at Spanish Ballroom in Tacoma, Washington. Meghanne and Sunny, who are the hosts of the event. So, ladies, how was your first event?
This was a blast. We just kicked ass. We just totally kicked ass. We had a great time.
It was amazing.
Thank you so much for coming out and for videoing everything.
You're very welcome. I got all the vendors. I got you guys. I got photos of you. I definitely got photos of Sunny. I'm already tagging her already. And you guys were freaking amazing. And you know the interview we had on the episode 19? You said that she was going to be amazing. You're fucking incorrectly. She blew my... I got emotional.
She's incredible.
I got chills. And then I heard Gina, and I got chills watching her sing. So it is like, though you three are amazing. And I can see this going stronger and happier and more. Because Allie has ideas for you to grow this festival too.
Thank you.
Vendors, all have a good time?
Yes, thank you so much for coming out.
Yeah. And I had a good time for having my very first podcast live. So telling Meghanne's story, it is like, it's her fault. I got my banner gun, I got everything situated, and now I'm getting ready to officially launch probably in a few weeks. So her fault. So you guys did an amazing job. I am very proud of both of you for doing this. And I'm excited to see what you guys do next year.
And we want to give a big shout out to you, Shels, for promoting this. We really appreciate it.
You're
We
welcome.
want to support your podcast and watch you reach for the stars. Man.
Thank you. And another thing I do to also miss Meghanne is that I do a review, right? Mm-hmm. I will be doing a review on this event.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you so
were
much.
welcome. Put everything in there and all this stuff. So again, this was an amazing event. I am very proud of both of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Shels.
You're welcome. All right, thanks guys.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Thanks for listening to Let's Talk About the Music. I hope you enjoyed today's topic. Remember, the show is more than just a podcast. It's a multimedia experience. You can enjoy the content as a blog, a both audio and visual format, or stay tuned to connect with other conversation. If you like what you hear, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit that subscribe button. As that way you'll never miss an episode. Also, be sure to sign up for our newsletter for our latest update and exclusive content. Until next time, grab your headphones or tune in visually and let's keep that music journey together. Let's talk music because the music is everywhere.